Everything comes in time for the one who knows how to wait. Of course it does. All people want everything at once. And, if a person starts some business, he wants instant results, and gets upset if they are not. In our age of rapid speed and change, people lack patience. Waiting is an art that teaches us patience, endurance, and faith. Because everything comes in time for those who have learned to wait. We can't always predict when success, love, or changes in our lives will come, but it's important to remember that everything happens in its own time. Don't lose hope if something doesn't happen right away. It may just be preparation for something better than you could have imagined. Marriage is a boat on which two people are sailing on a rough sea. If one of the two makes a sudden move, the boat sinks. It is the actions of both spouses that are important to keep the relationship balanced and stable. If one spouse makes a sudden move without considering the feelings and needs of their partner, the boat can begin to lurch and eventually sink. It is important that both spouses respect each other, listen and understand, support each other in difficult moments and rejoice in successes. In order for a marriage to remain strong and long, mutual understanding, compromise, tolerance and willingness to work on the relationship together are necessary. Only in this case the couple will be able to overcome difficulties and stay afloat even in the most turbulent moments of life. If no one noticed your departure, most likely, you did not leave for nothing. Sometimes we leave our jobs, relationships, acquaintances and friends, hoping that our departure will be noticed, and, they will still regret that we left. But, unfortunately, it happens that no one pays attention to our departure. And that's not always a bad thing. Perhaps our leaving is really justified and we were not valued or respected in the situation. So often leaving is not always a loss. Sometimes it is a step towards self-discovery, towards realizing our own worth, towards new possibilities and horizons. Whether it is a job, a relationship or a friendship, if our leaving has gone unnoticed, perhaps it is a sign that the road is open for something new, for someone who will truly value and support us. Everyone wants to change humanity, but no one thinks about changing themselves. Many of us strive to change the world and the people around us. We see many problems, misunderstandings and conflicts and we try to fix it. However, we often forget that real change needs to start with ourselves. Each of us has shortcomings that can prevent us from building harmonious relationships with other people. Therefore, it is important to realize our mistakes, try to work on them and strive to become better every day. Ultimately, great changes in the world can start with small changes in ourselves. I don't have everything I love. But I love everything I do have. Often we focus on what we don't have, forgetting to recognize and appreciate what we already have in our lives. Recognizing and appreciating what we do have helps us to truly enjoy and appreciate every moment in life. Most men demand virtues from their wives that they themselves are not worth. It is important to remember that an ideal relationship is built on mutual respect, support and equality. No one should demand from the other more than he is ready to give. Both parties should strive to develop themselves and their relationship, supporting each other along the way. It is important to discuss and resolve any problems or disagreements in the relationship, find compromises and strive for mutual respect. It is easier to live without love. But without it there is no sense. Certainly, living without love can be much easier, without pain, suffering, disappointment and separation. However, love is an integral part of our life, it gives meaning to our actions, motivates us to self-expression, growth and development. Love in all its manifestations, to family, friends, partner, the world at large, makes our life qualitative, fills us with joy, satisfaction and happiness. So while it may be easier to live without love, it is love that makes our lives complete and meaningful. Respect was invented to cover the empty space where love should be. Sometimes people can show respect without really loving or caring for the other person. But respect alone cannot fill the emotional void that love can fill. The power of the government rests on the ignorance of the people, and it knows this and therefore will always fight against enlightenment. It is time we realize this. People must strive for enlightenment, awareness and understanding to counter potential manipulation. It is education that can be the means to create a prosperous society where stable and sustainable development can be achieved. We have many rules but no truth. In today's world, we are increasingly faced with situations where existing rules do not always correspond to reality. Often rules and laws can be distorted, changed or circumvented in favor of those with power or resources. This can lead to inequality, corruption, injustice and unrest in society. And in such an environment, the real truth can be hard to find. Therefore, it is important to remember that laws and rules should serve the interests of all members of society, not just a narrow group of people or organizations. If you suddenly become bad for someone, it means that a lot of good has been done by you for that person. When we find ourselves in a situation where someone starts to perceive us as a bad person, it can be a sign that we have done something wrong or disappointed that person. However, it's important to remember that if someone has a negative opinion of us, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are bad people. There is a good saying, help 100 times and they will forget. Refuse once and they will remember. You may have done a lot of good things for this person in the past, but this time you said no, and he or she immediately begins to see you as a bad person. And this story is not about you, it's about him. We all make mistakes and have flaws, but that shouldn't define our overall quality as human beings. It's important to accept ourselves for who we are and strive to improve. It is necessary to marry not for love, but with calculation, only understanding these words just the opposite of the way they are usually understood, i.e. to marry not for sensual love and calculation of where and what to live, but for the calculation of how likely it is that the future wife will help, not hinder to live a human life. Everyone chooses for himself the reason for marriage. There are relationships that are born on love and quickly disintegrate. And there are those that are built on calculation and over the years only grow stronger. In any case, besides calculation or love, there should be respect, trust, compatibility in the relationship. I wonder what you think about these statements. Which quote did you like the most? Write in the comments.